There are 6 aspects which you need to predominantly consider when you are cross-examining an expert witness. The first aspect is whether that expert witness considered all the evidence available on record, all the relevant evidence available on record. So for instance, today the expert is deposing upon a certain aspect. Let's say again, take the example of PLF. And there is already another report which is there on record on PLF. So technically that is a relevant evidence which this expert should consider while he's preparing his expert report. But if he prepares his report while ignoring a crucial piece of evidence, then that's something where you can challenge the expert and you can ask him the cross-examination questions, right? Now, the second point is neutrality. You need to see whether that expert witness is independent and whether he's neutral, or whether he's only here to advance the case of the party that has appointed him. So I'll give you an example. For instance, we did a matter wherein an delay expert was appointed by the claimant. While reviewing his report, we saw that he only considered the delay events which were alleged by the claimant. All the delay events which were alleged by the respondent were not even considered in his report. So his report was clearly biased, one-sided, and it was not neutral. And we emphasized in the cross-examination that he's not considered the delay events by the respondent. And eventually, in the award, the tribunal had come to a conclusion that his report was not neutral and it was not a good report because it did not consider the delays by both the parties. So that's the second aspect, which is neutrality. Now, the third aspect is methodology. This methodology is again very important because let's say if we take the example of a delay expert only, there are various ways in which a delay assessment needs to be carried out. You have established protocols, like you have a Society of Construction Law protocol, or you have an AAC protocol, which will give you various methodologies by which you can determine and calculate delays. And if the expert witness has not selected the correct methodology by which a delay needs to be assessed, then you must ask him questions on that. So methodology is a very important thing. Now, the fourth point is literature. If whenever you come across any report, you must see what all aspects he's covering, and you must see what is the available literature on that aspect. And if you can counter him from the available literature. So, for instance, we did a matter wherein the expert witness, he was trying to calculate the wind speed. And he said that I have followed this manual called Wind Pro manual for calculating the wind speed. We Googled, we found out that there is a particular manual which tells you, there's a manual which is published by WindPro which tells you how the wind speed is to be calculated. So he said, I have followed the WindPro software. And when we confronted him with that manual and we asked him 2-3 basic questions from that manual, and we asked him if you have followed this provided in this manual, he said no. So clearly at that particular point itself, his entire testimony had, kind of being distorted because he did not follow the available literature, which he ought to have followed while doing his assessment. The fifth point is qualification. Whenever you are cross-examining an expert witness, always ask questions regarding his qualifications. Sometimes it may so happen that the expert witness is not qualified enough to give his report on the aspects that he is giving. And the last point is regarding assumptions. Always there is a particular section in the report wherein some assumptions will be written, right? And he will say that this report is prepared on the basis and on the assumption XYZ. You go through those list of assumptions carefully and see if any of the assumptions that he has taken is something by which you can contradict him. So for instance, let's say, I'll just give you an example. In one of our matters only, we saw in the assumption list, he said that so-and-so thing, I simply took it from what was given to me by the claimant and I assumed that to be the correct. And I did not carry out any independent assessment. We confronted him with all those assumptions, which clearly came to a finding during the cross-examination that his entire report was placed upon some assumptions. He had not independently verified it. In fact, some assumptions were such that he had taken, which were contrary and which he ought not to have taken, right? So these are broadly the six things that, you can focus your cross-examination on whenever you are cross-examining an expert witness.